I think we're live.
Think so too.
Yeah, there it is.
So
There
how do
she
you? So hold
goes.
on. I've wondered this. So
What?
how do you know if it's live? Is it because of like the red little dot that we see? Is it
I
just
look
the
for like the
live?
second counter on the thing because it'll say hover at
Mm,
like 0 for a little bit for me, and then
yeah,
as soon as I get the timer going, I know it's live. Oh,
I
cool
got
dude's
you.
here already. That's so fast, cool dude. Jesus,
He's
cool
lightning
dude's
fast.
71.
He's been waiting, man.
Oh my god, he wants
Just
to know about
sweating.
ketchup. Do you think it's pronounced 70-1? He's cool dude 70-1, or if he's cool dude 71? I don't know how that's read.
Um,
Please let us know.
yeah, 70 and one, not
70 dash
71. You know.
70
Mm-hmm.
dash. But yeah, this is the form check episode. We have a bunch of form checks to catch up on, some follow ups from last week and the week before, actually. Mick has drowned in Australia. Apparently, Australia has some major flooding, so Mick is MIA, doing music stuff and being wet right now. I'm here with Chase Lindley. How's it going, Chase?
Doing good. So cool dude in the chat has actually specified this, and
Oh,
it's
shit.
-1.
70-1. Oh,
That's
nice.
fucking awesome. Cool dude 70 minus
You
one.
got me, cool dude. You got me. Chase, what's up with your life, man?
Oh, nothing much. Just kind of just playing around again with like my programming. Um, Slowly trying to get more people at the gym. It's been kind of a weird kind of conundrum we're hitting. So in Houston, and same is true for like Dallas, all these big markets. You just plan a gym and the people will come, right? Whereas Oklahoma City, even though it's a big city within the state, they have the small town feel to where we have to do a little bit more community outreach, and we're trying to think of like some cool, hate to say it, but like sales pitches, kind of just drawing people into the doors and being like, look, the word of Ripito is what you need in your life.
Right, exactly. You need some fucking barbells on your back, man.
Yeah,
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 that's an interesting thing to be like, hey, you have problems that you didn't even know are problems, and we can solve them.
yep,
Um, yeah, especially talking to like older person, being like, I know you think you're supposed to feel like crap all the time, but imagine if you didn't.
yeah. And
Hmm.
it's almost like I'm a weird like carny, like I have like the
Yeah.
sledgehammer like bell thing. It's like, look, if you hit this high, you're really not that strong, and I can fix you.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, it's interesting. I know. I think like I very much so wonder if positive sales pitches in a fitness environment have ever worked. Like
I
just
don't
not
know,
like a
man.
cold call, for example, but just like asking someone who wasn't already thinking about
Hmm.
and then community outreach. What have you guys thought of so far for community outreach?
Um, we've gone to the local surrounding businesses. We just introduced ourselves, kind of like, hey, this bank across the street. If y'all hear anything about a gym, hey, just let us be the first recommendation. And if that happens, every time we get a hit from y'all, um, we'll try to hit people up on your end too. So kind of just working on that network.
Right.
Um, we've gone to. This was funny. So we went to this. This was during football. One of the senior assisted living places. Kind of, it was like 3 blocks north of us.
Okay.
Yeah, we thought, man, this is a gold mine, right?
Yeah.
So they had this little tailgate for one of the OU games here. I think it was like OU versus OSU, so it's a big game. Well, Phoebe, Colby, and I think one of the other apprentices, or maybe just them two. I had to stay because of coaching, but they went right, and they brought a bunch of pamphlets, a bunch of information, Subway cookies. The old people did not give a fuck. They cared about the cookies, and then just went. So it's
What does
basically
the
like,
pamphlet look like for starting strength?
I have to show you. It's basically just like a bunch of pictures of me, or like several of
Oh
our
shit.
members,
Check this
and
out, man.
showing.
Iron Bros is not Crown of. There's two iron related posters in Australia. We have Crown of Iron and now Iron Bros Australia.
Damn,
Iron Bros
that's awesome.
Australia. We got to check your shit out, man. Started a podcast YouTube channel. Check it whenever you get a second. We absolutely will shill your podcast, Iron Bros.
Well, did you not see this? It says, "Hey boys, it's Tricky Trick."
I know, yeah, it's Street Trick. Yeah, I'm saying like I
Oh,
originally
okay.
thought Crown of Iron was just also Iron Bros Australia, but he's actually uh what's it called? Tricky Trick. Started podcast. Hopefully, it's not fitness related whatsoever. That's the goal. What do you think it's about, Chase? Do you think it's fitness related?
Hopefully, it's about like cool recipes, man, that you can cook in cast iron skillets.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
It's Brisbane Cafe Classics. Have you ever made anything from Rip's show?
Yeah, we actually made chili not too long ago, and that shit was the bomb.
Have you tried the
Pretty good.
okra, the fried okra?
I tried doing it, but I think I fucked up. This was a while ago, and man, everything was just real soggy. It was pretty bad.
I tried it too. It was also soggy. I can't. I think I just picked shitty
I
okra.
don't know how I did it. So
I don't know how
what
okra
you need
works.
to do though, get your okra and then air fry it. Air fried okra is fucking amazing.
Do you have an air fryer?
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Is it worth the investment?
It is, dude. It's super simple. It's very convenient with like bacon. So you don't get fucking a grease fire started. Just pop some bacon in
Some
there, and then all
bacon.
the I can't talk.
All
But
right.
anyways, it traps all the grease and shit at the end, so it's just like almost like an ice cream tub of grease.
All right, everybody, hold on. We're gonna hold 1 second here. We're gonna go to YouTube. What's it called? What was it called? Iron Bros Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, this is gonna be sick. All right, everybody. Iron Bros Australia, the first stream appearance. All right, here we go. I'll put this message up so everybody knows what it is. Our setup is shit. Iron Bros Australia podcast. Oh my god.
That's awesome.
There's a laugh track in the first 2 seconds. Chase, can you hear this? Okay, all right, everybody. Your mission now is to go to Iron Bros Australia. Subscribe immediately. But let's check their videos out. Let's see what's going on here. They have a lot of videos up already. All right, here we go. Deadlift 240 kg, 530 times 3 reps, Iron Bros Australia. All right, Chase, we're doing form checks of Tricky Trick on his own YouTube channel.
All right.
How do we feel about this? Toe angle. We need a toe angle.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his heels.
Yep. And I'd still like a little bit more extension, so you're kind of
Like
losing
and
that
subscribe.
as you
Where
jerk.
is it? Like, subscribe. I already did that. Yeah, those is a decent set. Problem with CrossFit, Iron Bros, barbell rows, they're good. They're all up on it with the thumbnail game, man.
Hell
Our
yeah, dude.
thumbnails are terrible. We don't even have anything. Barbell rows, Iron Bros Australia. Ooh. What? Barbell row. Enormous overall back strength and size increase. Complement other pulling movements as well as the bench press. I think this is a contentious claim. You've heard this before? People say this all the time, right?
What, that complements other pulling?
Yeah,
movements?
no, they're like, oh, you got to, if you want a big bench press, you got to row. You heard that?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
How do you feel about that?
I don't think so, man. I think if you just get really fucking strong, and the best way to do that is deadlifting, squatting, and all that stuff, it's going to help your bench.
Yeah, I think the primary counterpoint is the Paralympic athletes who have like no legs, who will bench press an absolute ton, and then they're at a disadvantage for rowing in almost all configurations. They'll be able to do like seal rows, where they'll be able to lay down on the bench and then row a barbell into it, but they don't do terribly much rowing work.
No.
Posterior chain thickness. This is incredibly important. When do you think people should be doing rows, man?
If they cannot do any of the Olympic lifts, at a point to where they need a little bit of more pizzazz in their training, like they've done a good novice, a good novice linear progression, and it's time to kind of get a little bit more exciting with their programming. I'd probably do a barbell row.
A barbell row. How many variations? So strength 3 to 8 reps, hypertrophy 6 to 12, double overhand grip straps if need to. Interesting. This is an 18-second video. Bam. No, that's a deadlift. Hold on. Do you ever do rows like this? Do you do the floating row?
No.
Okay. You know who does like this? Kaylor Woolham really likes that a lot. And apparently John Hack really likes this type of row as well.
What is this? This is not the Dorian Yates row, is it?
No. Actually, this could be the one that Yates does.
It's not the Pinlay row or whatever the fuck.
Dorian Yates row. Here we go.
Well, yeah.
Well, Yates is much more upright. He turns it kind of into like a shrug. He's never as bent over. This is actually a picture of me, by the way. I don't know how they
God
got
damn,
this. I
dude.
don't know
Look
how
at
this
your
is in
back,
there.
Alex. That's awesome.
I know, yeah. I have to have my wife wash my back cleavage because I can't do it anymore. She has to get in there for me. I like this. This is my favorite part. They're pointing to pictures as if you couldn't see the back already. They're like, it's these
Yeah.
parts. All right, so the Yates row, that's Arnold doing a deficit. This is an interesting video. Here we go. Yeah, so the Yates row is very upright, if I remember correctly, when it comes to the Yates row. The Penlay row is resetting on the floor, of course, a la Mr. Penlay. Yeah, I know that Kaylor Woolham really likes that. Oh, cool. Yeah. But Kaylor Woolham really likes that type of row. Who else likes that row? John Hack does. I think it's because you just get this big eccentric stretch of the posterior chain. Because like when you have to fight that weight on the way back down, you're just getting more eccentric training. Have you tried them ever in your whole life?
I've done barbell rows before.
But I mean that type, the kind of not touchy floory row.
Maybe like in high school when we were just fucking around and the coach wrote like 3x10 rows and you're just like, all right, fuck it.
That's how programming works. 3 sets of hard, yeah. Yeah, I've tried them before. They just like tear the shit out of your posterior. If you're doing them decently heavy,
I bet. Because it's almost like an RDL a little bit too, with just that range of motion. Like on whatever tricky trick was doing, that's a shit ton of range of motion.
Yeah, it's almost like whenever you see guys, bodybuilders doing like the bottom 30% of the bench press, they'll just go bah, 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 right there. They're just taking the hardest portion for the pec and just kind of just going just up and down right there. It's almost it's very similar to the portion of the row. I find them terrible. The fatigue cost is just like insane, absolutely insane. So we got a bunch of form checks, Chase.
Cool.
Let's start with Nicholas Webb. Nicholas Webb sent in some new stuff, which is good, which is very good. So let's open this back up. If you guys remember, if you guys were watching last time, Nicholas Webb sent in a bunch of videos. And then
I can't remember what the hell we said, right?
We had a few points. It was the one where he actually failed one of his squat reps. Do you remember that?
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was not getting to depth and he was failing his squat reps, is what was happening before.
Well, I mean, he's definitely a little bit lower, but he's still kind of approaching the high point as he goes on. Right there, he's getting forward, got real high. So Webb here, what's his name? Webster? Webb?
Nicholas Webb.
Goddamn, where did I get Webster? Nicholas Webb.
Bam.
You're gonna have to commit to the bottom, right? So you're still kind of feeling out for where the bottom is. Don't keep speeding it up. Don't worry about a bounce. Shove out the knees, and you're gonna magically come back up. You don't
so
have
look
to
at
worry
this. This is what Chase was talking about. That like you're not. So that's his bottom position for this last rep. This is like at depth. Like kneecap, femurs running about right-ish there. This is totally fine, but it's like it's getting on that risky shallow point. This seems like a good bit less weight as well, because before there was like 2 something.
Oh yeah, definitely
high 2s. Yeah, Nicholas Webb. This seems like a really fast turnaround. You may not be. Okay, so this is
probably like
135.
155 or 185.
I can't tell if that's a small 25 or if that's
I don't know either.
It's a 10. It's something, but you may actually still just be in this big old fatigue spell from grinding the hell out of like your partial range squats and then failing some reps. If this is super hard for you, I don't think this should be that hard for you considering what we saw before because it's only adding another inch. Do you think he's balanced over midfoot? How would you feel about his toe angle? Do you think that's a little severe or do you want to keep that where it is?
More so, man. I think it's just his gaze. I want him to look a little bit further down.
Okay.
And then shoot his ass back more. He may be worried about hitting like that little lat pull down attachment behind him.
Yeah, with his butt.
I don't know. Yeah, but I feel like his tones really aren't that bad. Like, yes, there's a tiny bit of knee cave as he comes up, but I think it's more so just from him being forward. But like as you can tell, like going down, he's tracking really well. Just depth is inconsistent, and his gaze needs to be down.
Yeah, it's right here. Everything kind of shoots back a little bit too fast. Whoop, there it is. Beard's looking good, dude. I'll tell you that much. All right, so that was that. That was certainly a lot better than the failed reps that we saw before. We will say that for sure. MJ's here. MJ, I think we have some videos from you too. Maybe one. Yeah, I think we have one MJ video. And then we also have one of Nicholas Webb's deadlift.
Is this his first time submitting a deadlift?
No, so we saw his deadlift last time, and it was interesting. There was a ton of backgrounding, lower backgrounding. He had the belt on. Hip height was okay, but he was just like arched to the high heavens. So this is now second attempt at setting his back. Similar gaze issues with the squat. Yeah, so on the descent, you do not need to keep your face up like that because you notice how it's sliding off your knees, Nick. Yeah, this is a classic case of watch the Phil Megger's YouTube video, a quick tick on setting down the deadlift. Watch that. Squat was 205. Yeah, there's the man. Nick in the house. He's saying squat was 205. Okay, yeah, so those were tiny 25s then. I'm glad. I thought that was like 165 or 75, like we were saying. That would have been interesting. Yeah, back extension's a lot better. How do you feel about back extension here, Chase?
Yeah, overall this is way better. Like the big meat and potatoes of this lift. So hip height, back extension, and bar on the legs. Man, you got that nailed. Now it's just the small shit that Alex was talking about, like the gaze, not sliding it off your knees, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'll try to frame this. Boop. Right there. This is the position we want to avoid. So this is the jump position for a clean, but you're a little bit on your heels if you wanted to, pop this up on your front rack. But yeah, so in this situation, we don't want you to really unlock your knees too much. What you should be doing is just looking down in between your feet, send your butt behind you, and then punch the bar down right over the middle of your foot. It may make a little bit of noise, and that's okay. Don't worry about it too much. But these are way better. I think a lot of it was the belt. Yeah, like that's great position. I think the belt was really screwing you up last time.
Yeah.
A question from Mr. Ironbros Australia. Do you guys have much experience with the floor press, Chase?
I do not because my lifters don't need that.
What about yourself?
For me, no, I have not. I think I may have done it like in high school, just one time, just like fucking around with my friends and stuff, but I've never done it. I know that it can fuck up your elbows if you don't kind of pay attention. But me myself, I've never done it.
Okay. Nicholas Webb, yeah, of course, man. Keep sending in videos. I'm interested to see how the squat goes. Bench looked good last time. I don't know if I have your press offhand in my brain, but yeah, keep sending in your stuff, dog. Yeah, floor press is interesting. So for those of you who don't know, you are benching outside of the rack instead of laying on a bench press. You are laying on the ground, and then you unrack the bar. The range of motion is stopped whenever your elbows, really the meat of your triceps, interacts with the ground. So everything else is the same. And then once your triceps hit the ground, it stops. So a few things I've noticed on the floor press. It's really helpful for people who have a tendency to let the bar drift down too much. If you let the bar drift down on a floor press, you don't want to do it. Like
You're
you have a
fucked.
lot of incentive to not let that happen. So the lifter is really careful about lowering it high and then keeping a forearm angle that's appropriate for the lift. I've noticed for guys with meaty triceps, they can kind of like bounce off of them. Like if Chase did it, he would have, like this big wad of flesh to like butt up off of, which probably isn't too much at the point. Always pause with them. I don't know anyone who does a floor press without a pause. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the. I haven't noticed a big training effect. I've had a much better experience with the board press for people. Board press, love the board press.
You have
Same
even
thing with
like a
the
pin bench or something like that, like a
yeah,
slingshot.
pin bench is a great one as well. The interesting thing about the board press is that you can physically angle the board. Like if you have a spotter there who's like has a brain, and they are not keeping the board parallel with the floor. It is in line with the lifter's chest, so it's actually angled. So it really incentivizes pushing the bar back over the shoulder, which I love. The pin bench is tricky, tricky trick. It has a great training response. You use the pin bench a good bit, Chase?
I do. That I do. One, we just don't have as many slingshots. Like I have one in my gym bag from like a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's good. It helps kind of get the elbow position at the bottom, as well as kind of the the fear of holding something heavy over the chest, I think that accomplishes a lot. With the pin
Hmm.
bench, you always have the safeties of the pins there stopping it, but I think you have to be in a little bit of a tighter configuration, making sure that everything's in line with the pin bench before this thing goes. Similar to
Yeah,
like the pin press.
pin benches and pin bench and press are just super demanding
Hmm.
here. You have to be really sharp. You can't slack. You'll
Yep.
see some lifters who just like completely relax at the bottom of the pin bench and you'll be like, "Hey, you lost it. Sorry.
Yep.
Go home. You screwed up." Um, yeah. So Iron Bros, Tricky Trick. He said, "I've been making sure it's paused at the bottom. That's great. 4 weeks I've been using them and already finding my lockouts are so much stronger. That's great, man." Um, yeah. Try. So he said, "I just need to make one." Um, my favorite has been an old calculus textbook. If you have an old sturdy calc book laying around your house, that's great. It's like an inch and a half to 2.5 inches. The old trick is to wear two shirts. You wear like a second overshirt and you just shove it under the first one. Or so they say it's like you have a shirt, you put the book in there, second shirt. If the second shirt is like kind of tight, it holds it on there perfectly. And then you can just press down to it, press back up. That way you don't need a spotter to do the board press. Um, yeah, if you ever watch videos of people doing heavy board press, sometimes if their spotter will like up on the they'll get a little
Like help heave
excited.
it up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll get like horned up with you and they'll like, they'll try and throw it off.
Crowbar it off your chest.
Yeah. One thing I do, since we're talking bench accessories, I really like the chest level pin press. So like for people who rebound off their juicy pectorals or their rib cage, like it's set the pins up so that it is the same exact millimeter as their chest, and it's saying like you have to stay tight under it. I really like the bottom, the chest level pin press. Iron Bros, haha, great. If you get shot in the chest, you won't die. See, that's the problem. We're actually trying to. We're hoping to every day. All right, MJDC. I think this is a squat we're going to see from MJ. We'll put this up here now. So the last time with MJ's form checks, there was a lady in the background who looked incredibly disinterested
Oh yeah, on his
in the whole
bench.
activity. So hopefully that continues this time and someone just spits on him. And I'm just like, why are you get out of this gym? Some guy's putting a 25-pound plate on the leg press, which I didn't know was legal. That's cool. Oh, what a monster. He's putting a 25 on the bottom and then a 45 on top. No, two 45s. Okay.
I ain't fucking around, dude.
Man, this is getting serious, dog. Okay, MJ is squatting. We got to pay attention to that.
Just a heavy single.
Okay. Could you see how much was on the bar, Chase?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, we'll try and we'll do some detective work to figure that out. This is an interesting camera angle. It looks like someone's sneaking. All right. I think that's 3 plates, right? That's 3 plates. Here
I'm
we
thinking
go.
it's 325.
325. Okay, Tricky Trick. Goodbye, man. Rest in peace. He said you go to the gym enough, stop watching that shit, and get to work. He's skinny fat, clearly for a reason. See you, boys. Later, Trick. I'm
See you, man.
excited. Keep posting stuff on your YouTube. Oh, I'll watch it, man. Be a loyal subscriber. All right, so this is 325. We're watching MJ. How did you feel about this, MJ? What were your thoughts?
Man, he had some pretty bad knee slide, right? Previous?
I
Something to do
believe
with his
so.
knees?
Okay, so bottom position. How do you feel about this bottom position, Chase?
Still forward in the knees. That's why I kind of asked if he had
Okay.
some knee issues.
Okay.
So going down, he was roughly pretty good. I think you need to focus on setting the knees a little bit more and just not really worrying about what the hips need to be doing. Meaning, don't worry about sending them back or anything like that. Freeze the knees, right? And you just go straight down, and this will probably clear itself out.
Do you think you would use a tubo for this, Chase?
I would in his warm
Okay.
ups.
Yeah, this would be a tubo type deal. Yeah, that you were correct then, Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he said trying to us focus on stopping that knee slide.
So MJ, you can't think about stopping the knee slide at the bottom because it's already too late. You're gonna have to think about the initial start. So at the start, see how your knees were kind of lagging behind how you were bending. So what I mean by that is like your hips and knees didn't really break simultaneously. Your
Can we
hips kind
slow
of
this
did
down?
first, then your knees.
All right, he's settling in. Bam. Yeah, it's subtle. It's certainly
Mhm,
there. The knees are behind, and they keep moving forward the entire time. This
mhm.
gives you a really good picture of it. Um, okay. So one way I like to explain hip drive technique, or I mean not hip drive, knee slide technically, is that the knee position continues to travel forward in space even when the hips don't get more closed. Because the first, portion, the first half of the squat, the hip is closing and the knees are closing together. Once the
Mhm.
hip reaches its kind of terminal angle and the knees keep going forward, that's the knee slide thing that we're talking about. It just kind of just means you're really getting loose. Um, so how often is this? Do you see this, Chase? Is this a common fault
Um,
pattern for people?
yes, I think this and then them trying to overcorrect it with like them not bending their knees at all at the start and then they
Hmm.
send their hips way back in order to kind of like fix it, which then again causes some knee slide. But it's fairly common.
Yeah, it's certainly common. I think it may be coming from people thinking that their knees should always be doing something. They're like, my knees need to be constantly moving. Like otherwise it's not going to work. Um, all right, so this is Milinchik's. He's squatting a whole amount of weight here. This may also be 325.
The fuck is on the bar, man? Is that like a green, a yellow,
All
and
right,
a
pause. Okay, so this is likely a 10, 25, a 10, unless that's a kilo plate. All right, I give up. Let us know what it is, Milinchik's. Oh, return of the Patty. Patty, I didn't realize that you left. I think you just stalk people's YouTube channels now. Is it common to cry have you ever cried when you were lifting, Chase?
nope.
Even when you were like a child in the lifting mines when you were 4?
Um, no, man. I did get like so I'm very competitive and like I think I got pissed one day because I don't know, I was fucking up like I think it was the power clean. It may have been that or something. And I just got a little bit teary eyed. I was just like, God damn it, getting real pissed at myself. But other than
When was
that,
this?
not
How
like,
old were you when that happened?
oh fuck, man. Probably like whenever I first started, like um 7th grade. I don't know.
7th grade? That's an appropriate time. That's an appropriate time.
After that, nah, man, done
Mhm.
shedding tears.
I don't think I've ever cried when lifting. Uh,
You're not trying hard enough then.
I've only cried after one tournament. It was Judo Collegiate Nationals. Oh, here we go. Oh, return to the patty. He said every time I squat, I start uncontrollably crying. People start looking at me in the gym. All eyes on you, man. That's what it is. It's a play for attention. So there are some interesting. This is probably not in line with a genuine question, but you'll see this sometimes in martial arts classes. The first time people ever get choked out or near choked out or really slammed in the ground, there will just be like this weird automatic response. Lizard brain things will take over, and they'll just start like shaking a lot, and then
Hmm.
crying, won't be able to control themselves, voice will be all
Really?
over the
Actually
place.
crying?
Yeah, yeah, and it won't be like they're distraught. It'll just be like their eyes are just leaking. They're just crying, and it's people who like aren't super emotional. But it's like something happens. I think deep in the lizardy
So
parts of
it
your
could be
brain.
they could be person like just talking like how you are, and they're just fucking
No,
whatever.
after something traumatic, like the first
Oh,
time
okay.
something traumatic happens to them. So it's like, okay, this is you've been coming to judo for 7 months. This was the
Mhm.
first time you got choked out because you didn't tap early enough, and then
Mm.
afterwards they're just like, um, yeah, that's always a fun thing. You just kind of have to be like, hey, it'll stop in 30 minutes. Just go
Yeah.
go hang out. Oh man, how do you feel about this Milinchik squat?
And these are pretty high and pretty chesty.
Pretty high, pretty chesty. Good quad training though, man. 10 out of 10 quad gains. How would you go about fixing something like this, Chase?
Let's see, man. Your stance looks pretty good. Maybe like a hair wider, but more so it says you got to get your thighs way the hell out of the way. Make some room down there because you're kind of getting this artificial sensation of depth by everything kind of getting jammed up pretty soon. And you're going to have to think about once you've hit the proper depth to come up and lead with the belt out of the bottom.
Yeah, lead with the belt is a great cue. So like I'll work like a finger or two under the back of their belt. I'll have them sit at the bottom of a squat, and I'll pull them up on that belt to really conceptualize hip drive. Um, I think this is exactly what Chase was saying. I think it's the SC2187. Are you Strength Club in the future? Is that what this is? 2187. Fart and cry simultaneously. Have you ever farted badly while you've been squatting, Chase?
Dude, hell yeah, all the time.
I've actually never done that. I will re-rack a set if I feel like I'll have to fart in the middle of the
Dude,
set.
don't puss out, dude. You just have to let that thing
I
just air out.
will adjust programming. I mean, like, I'm not gonna fucking
Oh man, dude,
prolapse on the gym floor.
you need to look at this one video, man. There's one time, this was whenever the government shutdown first started. So I went back up to Wichita Falls, and one of the members there had a bunch of free range chickens, and they had just laid a bunch of eggs. So he would come in like he came in like Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he just had like fucking crates of just chicken eggs.
Is this real?
And I swear to God,
He just brings in
um,
eggs. He's like,
yeah,
"Hey
he just brought
guys,
in
it's
eggs.
me,
Yeah, and he's just like,
Eggman."
no, I mean, his name is Mark Brown. Shout out to Mark Brown. But he he literally just brought in a bunch of eggs, and I was like, all right, cool. I mean, fuck, man, eggs are getting expensive, and do they taste way better than normal store bought eggs? Anyways, I got like 18 or 12 of them, and I was like, fuck, man, this is a lot of eggs. Like, I can't eat this many in one sitting, so I'll just boil them. So I hard boiled them, and then I ate like six one morning, and then I went into training. Jesus, man, I let out this one fart on a heavy set of three. It sounded like all the muscles in my body were ripping simultaneously, and just oh man, it was pretty powerful.
That's terrible, dog. Hard-boiled eggs?
Hmm.
Absolutely no. That's gas station food. That's like desperate trucker gas station food.
Hey man, it was all right. Got me going.
I got you going, man. You finished a heavy set of 3. You shit.
Well, it was
You
funny too. So
you put
Nick Duggadillo
fecal
was in there.
particulates
So
throughout
like,
the air in your gym.
so you remember in WFCC like the two back squat racks, kind of like towards the dumbbell racks. Hello, are you cutting out?
Um, yeah, Chase.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. Briefly, thing muscular tension in the glands can make you tear up. It happens when you yawn or Valsalva. It certainly does. That's a good point. Yeah, I've never happened when it was squatting because I don't think people actually pull on their facial muscles like that. I've noticed that some people will do it if they actually open their mouth a lot. Like if you do like an open mouth style deadlift, sometimes that can pull on the face weirdly. Also in shrugs, when you shrug, a lot of those facial muscles get pulled. Like if you shrug, you kind of have to do this, like smile at the same time almost. Sometimes that can fuck with you. All right. Theodore, he said, "What's up?" We've just been watching Milinchik squat for like 10 minutes.
I know.
All right, Chase. After you finish the fart, to know if you've ever vomited as well.
Well, it's the same kind of story, but
Oh God, no.
so the two the two squat racks closest to the dumbbells in WFAC. Well, I'm on the one closest to the office, and
Mm-hmm.
I think Nick was in there doing whatever on his laptop, and I did the set, and fuck, man, every single rep just letting out a fart, and he just hears it, and after I rack it, we just kind of like lock eyes, and he just shakes his head in disapproval yet in awe.
It's like, what the fuck is this guy's?
Dude, yeah, he's just
Oh
like,
God,
this guy is fucking insane.
disgusting. Maybe that was the problem with Milinchik squat. If he thought he could go any deeper, he would poop himself. But yeah, so for those of us who've been watching his squat 85 times in a row, which has been all of us, he's actually rolling the outside of his foot. I would certainly widen the stance up, maybe increase the toe angle. It seems like the tactile cue that he's operating on is whenever his belt is touching his thigh, that means he's at depth. He is not at depth. He needs to let those two things compress and join together and then ride that down for another second. There's a few ways to handle this. He could just keep doing what he's doing, and then you could say just ride it down for longer, be really patient with it. Like even if you feel those touch, keep going down. But then the other option is just to clear his legs out of the way more, like Chase and I were saying, and then that should resolve itself. Like keep just really bottom out. That's decent. All right, who else? We have a guy named Robot Rock, which is a great app username,
That
by
is
the way.
cool.
I know,
Robot
it's a great
Rock.
name. All right, here we go.
Now hold on. Whenever I first heard this name, I thought of like the actual like rock, like in like a rock garden.
You didn't think Dwayne Johnson, but a robot.
No, and then
Okay.
like not like the music genre or it's a rock that it's almost like a transformer, like a
Okay,
robot that transforms into a boulder. That'd be kind of cool.
interesting. This is quite the setup. All right, so he has that's interesting. You can get away with this. It's a single sheet of plywood as the platform on
Hmm.
carpet. It seems like he has a TRX setup mounted to his ceiling. I certainly hope that is very well connected to a joist. I really hope.
Damn, dude. He has it tricked out. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's
All
got
right,
his
these
knowledge on
squats.
one wall. He's got his.
Bam. This is the deepest his squat gets. How do you feel about this bottom position, Chase?
That's high.
It's high. So
Mm-hmm.
what are the landmarks that you're looking for? So we can very clearly see where the top of the knee is.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you say greater trochanter is for him? End of the femur, right there. You think about
Yeah,
there,
about
or you
right
think
there.
lower?
It's probably right there. So I don't actually gauge off of the greater trochanter, but I look at like where his pocket is. So you see like that
You
little
go to
like.
like actual hip crease.
Yep. So you see like where like the pocket kind of puffs out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my kind of landmark there. So if that little area is below the top of his knees, bam, he's hitting depth. But here, man, if it's questionable, it's still high.
Yeah. Questionable. It's high. I honestly think squat shoes would just solve all of this.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think if you put some squat shoes on them, it's fixed immediately. So gives us an interesting vantage point on the upper back. How do you feel about this upper back position?
Man, maybe he's leaning over to hit his depth on like the last few inches. Um, the bar position looks maybe a tiny bit high, but I'd like to see his chest out a little bit more thoracic extension.
Yeah. I think I don't know what shape of person this is, but there are some people who just don't have any rear delts whatsoever. And even if they're putting their arms back, it's just like a perfectly flat surface.
Yeah, it's
That's a
weird.
shame. That's just like, I don't, that's one of the worst genetic anomalies and defects you can have. Even to see my people with like decently like muscular backs, like they've started to work out, you can tell, but they'll put their arms back. It's just like one flat surface. And you're like, damn, that sucks. Um, yeah, like I've never had a problem figuring out where the bar goes because it just notches into your rear delts and then you're
Hmm.
fine. You're like, that's exactly where it goes.
That's right.
But some of these people just can't figure it out. Yeah, squat shoes, hip drive, get deeper. Anything else for Robot Rock?
Um, he's kind of lifting up his chest a little bit.
Yeah,
More hips.
more hips for sure. Yeah, overall solid. I think he's probably what 135, 85,
Somewhere in the mid
somewhere,
lows twos.
something like that. I can't really tell if that's a 2.5 or a 5. I'm not sure. But yeah, man, it's solid. If it's I think we always are very critical of these things, but it's like, hey, if it's your first 2 months on the NLP. Oh, is the State of the Union on right now, Pete? Holy shit. Pete's in the chat. He said his strength club way better than the SO2. Are you going to watch the State of the Union later, Chase?
No, I'm just gonna watch for the memes tomorrow.
Just watch. There was a
They'll say
really
some
good
shit.
clip on like a Pennsylvania news station. I'll send it to the Telegram group after this. But they were talking about a local like pedophile, like a guy who had been just doing something fucked up to a kid. And then as that happened, they were like, the 65-year-old man was caught doing something with a 12-year-old girl. And then Joe Biden's picture shows up with the State of the Union thing right behind. They're like, this is his picture. And it's just Joe Biden like, hey.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
he's fucked some little girls, man,
it
and
cracked me
probably
up,
little
man.
boys too.
It cracked me up. All right, hold on. Do you remember Joakim? Joakim Rice?
Yes, I think.
Okay. All right, we got some Joakim videos. Here we go. Bam. Wow, you lads are based. BASED, Basado, fully. Yeah, we used to call this the alt-right barbell club,
Hmm.
Patty. Uh-huh. Maybe ironically, maybe not. It's the full circle, drenched in meta irony. We don't know what it is. Yeah, subscribed. Thanks, dog. Bit harsh. The poor lad has just been told he's an abomination with no rear delts. Please press F to pay respects. Yeah, F indeed, man. F indeed. It's interesting because like some people can do a bunch of chin ups, a bunch of deadlifts, and that area just does not change. It's
Yep.
interesting fat distribution on the upper back. There's just nothing. Were you watching these, Chase?
Yeah.
How you feeling about him?
This is dropping the ass, and then man, I want to kind of say something kind of weird, but I don't like how he's done his pants like that. The reason why is that it's kind of clipping and making the bar kind of protrude out after he's
Mm-hmm.
hit that bundle of material. Just put your pant legs down, and you'll be fine. But the more pressing issue is getting your hips high enough, getting that tension on your hamstrings, and keeping that as you push.
Do you think he's starting forward, Chase, or is he?
So play it at the start.
Yeah,
Boom,
that's
right
like
there.
such a big
Yeah.
shin angle, man. Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
his limb length, like from his shin and his femurs, are relatively almost kind of equal, but I still feel like he's dropping his ass a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think yeah, starting forward. Yeah, hips are too low.
Which, yeah, that may just be a byproduct of him not putting the bar an inch away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the sweatpants thing that could just be an artifact of him doing this after he squatted. You know,
Hmm.
you could do the squat diaper thing, very stylish.
I do that. Fuck yeah.
You do? I've seen
Where you
those
like you
videos,
roll your
man.
the
The
pant legs up,
shorts
like
into
the
the
shorts.
underwear. Yeah,
Dude, it
yeah.
helps.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you like +10 on your fucking lifts. Should
Yeah,
try it.
anytime I used to go for squat PRs, I had this really tight pair of Under Armour underwear. They felt
Hmm.
like a squat brief. They were
Oh
just
hell
so
yeah.
tight. I had to
You just
take
have
them
to.
off as soon as I was done. There was no way.
That bad, really?
Yeah,
God
they were
damn.
choking the boys up, but it gave me a nice they gave me a nice bounce. Um, yeah, I think you're certainly starting forward. The hips are too low. Put the sweatpants down. I would just go through the 5-step setup again. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think people like this they're almost leading with the chest a little bit too much. Um, Yeah, I would say pick when you pick the hips up, think about pulling it off the ground as opposed to like trying to squeeze your chest up too much.
Hmm.
But these are solid. I think he's also been gaining some weight, or at least productive weight for sure. Because I remember we saw him before, and he was quite thin. He was quite
Yeah.
thin. All right, who else do we got here?
Was he
We
the
got
French dude?
yeah, he was like working out in
Yeah,
this
that's
interesting
right.
kind of parking
Yeah, yeah,
garage
yeah.
basement-y esque situation.
Yeah, he looks way better, man.
Hmm.
Already.
All right, so we got Mike Finn here. Uh, okay, Mike Finn. Oh, he's doing it. He's doing all the things, man. Okay. One comment. Startingstrength.com. Type in thoracic extension into the search bar. You're going to see an article that says identifying thoracic extension in the squat. Read the article. Anything else to add, Chase?
Man, this looks like the type of dude who just has bad shoulder mobility, and he's just trying to find a good location for the bar. Um, just try to work on your shoulder flexibility. I mean, these really aren't that bad, but definitely you need to get your back involved with the thoracic extension. Maybe even bending the knees a little bit more, kind of way into the heels at the bottom. But other than that, I think that's fine.
Yeah. I think these are like as good as they're going to get right now with your ability to extend your back. I'm very
Hmm.
curious to see your deadlift, Mike. Because like I'm wondering if the back extension is there, frankly, at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if you look at this, it's just this kind of constant downward arch. The technique nihilists and technique apologists will look at this and be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. He's squatting. Who cares? He's hitting depth and standing up." But these things tend to not be super sustainable for most people. There's a huge survivorship bias with people who lift with rounded backs for quite some time. Um, Oh, Return to the Patty. It's a private group chat between me, Chase, and the third Mike, Mick. Third Mike, Mick. It's where we coordinate for the show. Sadly, we can't invite you, Patty. I'm sorry. We were thinking about starting a Discord as well, just for people to shitpost in. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to see, Chase, if you've seen this with like some of the. I'll see this with larger, older guys. Like if you have an old guy who's just kind of chunky guy, this is some signs sustainable. Um, But when people squat with this level of backgrounding and the bar not in a super secure position, when it gets heavier, it's just going to roll up their back as it
Yeah.
moves on, and it's just going to crush them. I've never found this model of squat to be very sustainable.
No, but I mean, like at this, actually, this guy reminds me of one of my guys in the evening classes. So he's fairly young, but he has just a 10-man shoulder, man. He just cannot get into the low bar position. It's gotten better, but he's still like half an inch away from it. His look like this, and he's
Hmm.
got a squat, right? But definitely, like he's getting up to almost 225 right now, and it's kind of shifting his weight around because that bar is not stable on his back.
Hmm.
So until he kind of gets better with it, and it's kind of a gray area. It's like you got to make the guy squat, but at the same time, he's going to be limited because this is definitely not a proper position, and it's
Hmm.
just it takes time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to fix that. Um, Even throwing something in like a front squat to help you figure out how to keep your chest up may be a really good idea, man. But yeah, Mike Finn, curious about your deadlift. Let us know how that goes, and then we'll follow the back extension journey. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen in real life one of these racks that shoots off the wall?
I helped install one with
Ooh,
Josh down in Houston. I
okay.
mean, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Apparently, his could hold 1,000 because he had this other like attachment that he bolted on to where I
Okay.
think what it was, the stands would push into the wall and then you could pop them back out. So,
Mm.
I mean, it seemed pretty stable. It's just
Okay,
you
man.
have to have, I guess, a stable enough wall that you have it
Yeah.
mounted on because
Yes. You can't have like an Oklahoma house that's gonna blow
fuck
over
no,
every two
no,
seconds.
not at all.
All right, hold on. We'll go for this guy. This is D Bon 108.
Deep
Hold
on.
on, guys. I'm in the process of sharing it. Please be generous. We're almost there. So much clicks. Okay, all right. So this is D Bon 108. He is in like a Smith machine with an external rack. This is a very rare type of squat rack.
This is pretty weird.
This is interesting. So this is certainly a garage gym or a basement gym, maybe, right?
Yeah, dude, this
But he
is
has a hack squat or a leg press, a hack squat leg press combo, and a Smith machine. This is awesome.
you can kind of tell, man. He's been used to squatting in the Smith machine. He's fucking
Certainly.
upright, not hitting depth. This is a
Oh,
Smith
wait a
machine
second,
squat.
Chase. This is a Smith machine slash squat rack slash lat pull down with a pec fly.
God, dude, this is all in one.
Shit, man.
I don't know why
That's
we don't
like,
have. We need to have these in the franchises.
I know you gotta you gotta call Gillenwater. Be like, did you hear about these?
Yeah, they're awesome.
Plus, in the back here, he seems to have like the leg extension leg curl attachment for something.
Jeez, man, he
You know
has.
what it may be? I wonder if it attaches. Oh, so it also has the low pulley. Do you think there's some way to set the leg extension up to this as well?
Fuck, I bet. I mean, this is like the all-in-one squat rack.
This is the coolest machine I've ever seen in my life. Hopefully, I get this home gym one day. Yeah, these squats though, these are kind of Smith machine style squats.
Definitely.
How do you go about fixing these? There's a lot to go over here. Is there any
Yeah,
sort of
there
simple
is.
progression that we have to solve this problem?
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty good example of this. So
Yeah.
we get apprentices coming in, right? And to the uncoached eye, or just not the refined eye, this guy, man, this thing is just fucking vomiting a bunch of shit at you, right? So what dignifies our squat for our model? One, it's the back angle. Two, it's hip drive, and three, it's the depth while staying in balance. So those four things I'm kind of looking for. So one, he's in balance, right? But he's clearly not hitting depth. I think that's task number one. Two, from there, he's also going to have to lean over a little bit more. So I think hitting depth and the back angle, that's kind of almost blended into the same step. But those two things we're definitely going to have to fix.
Yeah, it's basically like how do you manage something that is he's almost attempting to do a different movement in its entirety, you know. Like, in an extreme example, you can't migrate someone over cue by cue from like a front squat to a low bar squat, right? There
No.
would be too many changes to do. That kind of applies to certain types of high bar squats as well, especially whenever people are doing like not even to depth high bar squat. If you have like an Olympic lifter who's doing great depth high bar squats, it takes 2 seconds to fix it. But if you're doing with something like this, like it's actually a little bit complicated to change, because you can't say, well, lean over more because the bar position is wrong, and you can't say, put your chest down because then what is he going to do with his head? You can't change one thing at a time. So we have the teaching progression. Starting Strength has nailed down a teaching progression to work through these situations. If you don't know what you're doing even a little bit, you can just reset, or if you think you know what you're doing, you can just reset, go through the teaching progression, and you will end up at a suitable model for what we see as fit. That's exactly what I would do here.
Yep.
How are your apprentices doing, man, at OKC?
So far, pretty good. I think they have seen enough kind of older people to where they can handle that aspect. We have a few kids coming in too, so it's kind of throwing some of the apprentices for a loop. But
what type of kid?
Oh,
Like
13.
17? Okay.
Yeah. Again, they're doing good. It's now just things that happen while training, for a period of time. So like injuries, nothing bad. It's just kind of like, I got a tweak here, and how are we going to work around it? How are we going to work on your schedule now and stuff like that? Because everyone,
Right.
the vast majority of the time, are just gung ho for the first 2 months, and then shit starts getting to the point where it's like, fuck, like, why am I doing this? Yeah, I'm getting strong, but then I want to go do this. So just
Right.
programming changes and kind of that satisfaction
Yeah.
with the
How does
client.
everything interface together?
Mhm.
This is DeGriz. He is very much so in an antique style basement. This is like a great grandma style basement, is what this looks like. This is awesome. Linoleum floors and the mirror too. I think this may have been like a home gym back in the day as well. Maybe a music room. We have a music stand here.
You ever seen Lou Ferrigno's
I was
gym that
just
he?
thinking that.
Yeah,
I
this
was
looks like that.
just thinking, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do you remember the best Lou Ferrigno clip in Pumping Iron is whenever they're doing the overhead press, and then Lou Ferrigno is just shouting more. He's just doing these partial reps right at the bottom. He's just going more. All his boys are like more. God, I love that scene. Yeah, Shay. So you ever gonna have a home gym, or do you think you're just gonna work out in the starting strength
Oh
gyms?
man, I want a home gym pretty bad, but
Yeah.
not until like I'm like settled down.
Are
I
you
don't know
gonna make
where
it
that's
one of
gonna be.
these, just mirrors, whole lining the
Not
wall?
definitely not the mirrors, but definitely like the old wood paneling. Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. All right.
I have pictures of like you, Mick, and every other bodybuilder up there.
Yeah, we'll be dead by then, so it'll be good. Yeah, Mick and I will have died. It'll be in memorial. They died trying to bench 135. They got stuck and killed themselves. Do you think this is a similar situation with D-Grizz that we had with the previous gentleman? Would you reteach this completely?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, it's just he's worried about his bar placement. He's worried about his grip. There's again a bunch of other shit that he has basically no idea what to fix. One, it's body position. So right there, his gaze is changing, his
Mm-hmm.
back angle is changing, his depth is inconsistent. It's going lower at one point, higher at one. It's man, this is a clusterfuck. Again,
This
nail the
is
depth.
this. If I had to bet, this is second week.
Yeah, this is probably a newbie squatting.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Um, Yeah, so a few things. This is the interesting thing. One of the jokes with coaches, it's like, but look at his wrists. When you get someone who is very untrained and they'll kind of go through the things they think are important. Of course, the most important thing is how you hold on to the bar. The barbell is the relevant item, right? So he's so focused on his wrists, they have to be straight that he's now moved the bar up
Mm,
basically right in the base of his neck. So in reality, it's like we can move the bar a little bit lower. We can let your wrist bend. Doesn't matter for right now. And then you can triage it and then focus on the big picture items. I think the toe angle is a little bit too wide. The heels need to go out completely. The stance needs to widen up, um, and then needs to lean over. I think this is kind of like a do the teaching progression again. Figure out what hip drive is for sure.
hmm
hmm I think he's actually quite mobile. Like he's getting down there. Whenever he really sinks in the bottom,
Yeah,
that's
like right there, like his back's in pretty good extension. It's just, maybe he's, never had a video in front of him saying like, look, the bar placement is right here on the posterior delts. It's like
mhm.
3 inches lower than you think. He probably just got underneath a bar and just started squatting.
Yeah, it's like you can sometimes you'll be able to see people thinking about things. Like I think at one point he starts with his head up in the rep, and then as he gets to the bottom, he like remembers to put his head down. There's like there's a lot of thinking going on here. But I would start with widen the stance up, watch the hip drive videos, you'll be able to figure that out. Any parting shots for D Grizz, man?
No, just those things that you said.
Okay, all right, cool. Sick basement, dude. All right, we've done a good bit of squats today. This is a very squatty show.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what this one is. I'm not sure what this video is. Okay, never mind. It's a press, but you can only see the guy doing the bottom of it. So literally, you just see his hand here, and then it disappears. That's it. I love when people send in those videos. All right, so we have one from Jonathan Elnier. Jonathan Elnier. We've seen some videos from him before, so this will be informative. All right.
Is that the prison one where we thought he was like lifting in the prison?
No, there's been a few of those. Mick used to say that all the time. Oh, clearly we know who this is now, everybody. He's doxed himself. Bam. Do you remember Bolt Lock and Key? If you need locks done in the 617 area code, call this dude. He will show up at your house and then rip your door off with his massive back. Yeah, so we've seen him in the SS rack before.
Yeah, I was about to say I have high hopes he has the SS rack.
Mm-hmm. He fabricated it himself. He found the metal himself, smelted it,
yep,
made it.
Forged it with his bare hands.
Okay, so this seems like another 325, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so MJDC, we can now compare MJ to John here from Bolt Lock and Key.
They kind of have the same body type too.
Yeah, similar proportions. We'll see how the technique does. So a lot of these are pause squats, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going for that or.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's intentional. I think it's intentional, right?
I don't know.
These are so paused that they have to be intentional.
Yeah, I guess. If it's not, then you do have a problem there. Okay, let's just clarify that elephant in the room.
Yeah.
But even if they're paused, right? The main idea is to stay tight, and I feel like you're still getting pretty loose in the bottom, not because of the butt wink at the bottom, but just because of the shoulder positioning. You're kind of getting slunched forward a little bit. Think about pushing up against the bar, maintaining some tightness, and not letting the bar mash you into the bottom. So like right there a little bit, you can kind of see the plates drift forward.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep the armpits tight. And I had to tell this one of my clients about a cue of like you're a bird with the wings kind of tucked in. That's your arms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, push up against the bar.
Yeah. I'll tell people to think about meeting the bar constantly. Like, don't let the bar crush you. Don't let it change your back. You are constantly trying to meet the bar with your hands and your shoulders at the same time. I've noticed that takes a ton of stress off people's elbows. I really do like that one. Yeah. So do you ever find kind of beginners or new people, just in general, will pause at the bottom just almost always?
It depends on like if that person has one like some very bad balance issues,
Mm-hmm.
or two they just have a terrible oh damn fuck they have a terrible bar positioning on their back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed this. So Chase, inside one of the second one, if the bar is moving around, they'll pause.
Yeah.
Most people will kind of wait for that for like the load to rebalance itself and recenter. Yeah. I don't think that's what he's doing here because it's like rep 2, he clearly bounced out of the bottom, and then the rest of them he's just, rep 3 as well. So he's pausing on 3 out of 5 reps, I believe. Yeah, pause. Okay.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's in some sort of template. It's a pause squat, but you only pause on reps 1, 4, and 5.
It's a mystery. You just roll a dice.
Yeah, reps 2. Yeah, it's confusing the muscles, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, MJ, this is a good squat example for you to see, I think. Yeah, so definitely pay attention to this. I think meeting the bar, everything like he said. I would also widen the stance out. How do you feel about his stance with here? Do you think it's fine? Would you nudge it out? Where would you go with it?
I think it was fine for the most part. Again, I think a lot of this is again just stemming from the bar position at the top, the tightness.
Okay.
I think his stance is wide enough,
Yeah.
and he's clearly hitting depth.
Oh man.
Just kind of relaxing.
Yeah. And some.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's it, man. I think these are really, really solid squats. You should be happy about these. Figure the pause thing out, all the other tiny stuff that we said. Let's see what else you have to get through. I think we've gotten through. I got like 3 videos from one guy. All of them are overhead pressing. They're unusable, completely unusable.
Is it the same dude who's showing like the bottom position without his arms or something?
Yeah, I'll put some of this up for you. We'll check it out.
Let's help the guy out. Let's see what we can
We'll
help
see.
him with.
Yeah, if someone sent me this video, I'd be like, try again, Doug. Try again. So we can see the bottom. Wrists are really bent. And I was like, oh, is he going to drop this down and do hang cleans? I was like, what's going to happen here? Is he going to do a jerk? Is a split jerk practice?
I mean, it's still usable.
I know, it just feels offensive.
Yeah.
This is Wilt, 1984, by the way, everybody. We've seen a few of Wilt's lifts. This is Wilt's press. This seems like it is. Are those 15s or 25s? What do you think?
I'm going for like, I'm gonna say 25s.
Those 25s? Okay. All right. So my boy's pressing 95 pounds. What's the importance of shrugging at the top? Like, why would anyone pause at the top of the press, Chase?
For the shrug. The shrug helps alleviate any impingement. So we have, let's say, the scapula right here, and then you have the humerus sticking up. Well, what the shrug does is that it rotates the glenoid cavity, kind of like where the humerus sits in, up, and to where everything is kind of just stacked upon each other. If it's not, again, your angle of the scapula is like this, then you have your humerus here. So there's a little bit of a chance of like that kind of colliding together and pinching some of the rotator cuffs. But that shrug, again, helps alleviate that, and it helps hold heavy weights overhead. So yes, the triceps help lock out the elbows, and you can stabilize that, but there's a lot of meat with the traps that are helping stabilize the bar position overhead.
Yeah, it's like, imagine, I always tell people with all of their lifting habits, like, imagine if you were super strong. Imagine if this was 315. Would you be doing these habits with 315? Like, would you not be taking a big brace? Would you be thinking about something else during the walkout? Would you just pop it up and then down? No, you wouldn't. You would die. Like, take all of the weights seriously. Pretend you're a lot stronger than you are. So the shrug, like Chase was saying, with the concept of impingement, we have the intersection of the scapula and clavicle hovering right on top of the glenoid, or sitting right on top of the head of the humerus in that glenoid cavity. So it's like all of those things can interact with each other negatively in some aspect. So if you can rotate the scapula up so that everything's aimed up with the rest of the arm, it just seems to be really flattering. It seems to be a stronger, more stable position. It'll definitely have those benefits in terms of like shoulder longevity. So like we tend to really prefer it, because it's like, if you're going to hold a heavy weight overhead, you need to know how to hold it, not just like extend your elbows and then rapidly drop back down.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just not super consistent. Like, ideally, with all of our training, we're making it as consistent as we can. So I think what's his name? Darren Deaton had a good video on this. I think it's like why we shrug in the press. Is that what it is?
I have no idea.
You haven't seen this one? It's a long one. JD Shipley is he's the test dummy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I know
and
what you're talking about now.
he's doing like the sample press and then putting his shoulder up.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's a really good video. I would definitely watch that, Wilt. All right, so we'll go back to this. Chase, what's going on with your Instagram, man?
Nothing. Just slowly kind of posting shit.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, but what is it? It's at Chase Lilling.
Yes, at
In the
Chase
backup
Lindley.
account, in case Chase gets banned for saying the gamer word, it is at Chase _Lindley.
Yes. Make sure you ban that one first, though.
Yes, yeah. Ideally, if you could mass report Chase_Lindley, that would be good.
Yes.
To get videos on the show, you can email support@strength.club. We'll go through them just like we did today. Hopefully, next week's episode is going to be about sarcopenia, ameliorating age-related diseases through strength training, maintaining function as an athlete of aging, as Jonathan Sullivan calls it. So hopefully we'll be talking about that. Chase has a ton of experience working with that population. I have a little bit less experience, but I'm really curious about it. So, hopefully that'll be a good discussion. I do online coaching. You can get more information about that on my website, which is right there. And then I guess we'll top it off with the quote from our fearless leader, Mark Ripito. He said, "You're thinking too hard about this." Yeah, I think that's kind of the whole process of the Starting Strength gang, right?
Definitely, man. It's overanalyzed.
It's overanalyzed. It's just up everybody's butt. Any parting shots for everybody else, Chase?
No, man. Just hope everyone has a great lifting session coming up, and be strong.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, be strong. Be strong. Be strong for Chase. He needs it. Chase, you got to subscribe to Iron Bros Australia. Are you gonna do that, or is it just me?
Yeah, fuck it. I'll do it.
All right, everybody subscribe to Iron Bros Australia as well for the three of us and my mother who finishes the stream. All right, later, everybody.